I'm recording this video on Valentine's Day, and I would like to share a few insights and also the energetics of this day in my world, in my community, intimate universe, and how we can take it deeper and how we can expand with this idea of the Lover's Day, right? I like to say that it's a Lover's Day to celebrate the lover within, to celebrate the relationship, lovership, right? With our partners, with our family, with our friends, you could expand it in a way that feels good for you. So it's a celebration of the lover. Of course, there is this romantic, little cheesy moment, the commercial piece of Valentine's, and there is some rules behind it, and it can be fun too. Yet, when we apply Tantra as a lens of perception, the lens of a life experience, relationship experience, we want this day to be so much deeper and so much more ecstatic, right? And joyful than just following the rules in the society, right? And you can design your own. So the beauty of tantric approach is that you really engage your personal energy. You don't need to follow any rules, and you design your own experience that feels so beautiful and juicy and exciting, activating for you. I'd love to share a few insights in terms of like where the empowered feminine, the modern woman who has been working on herself so much, has done so much healing within, so much feminine work, so much inner work, right? Maybe ancestral healing. And we arrived into this place where it was like, wow, we have transformed into this new generation of sacred feminine that is so much more aware, so much more powerful, so much more activated and ready to create a new world, right? The golden age of humanity. And in a way, many of us are stepping into feminine leadership and in the most unbelievable way if you compare with previous generations. Yet many of us hit certain walls, right? While we're trying to self-express and create something different, because society is not quite ready. The systems and structures of the modern world are still based on old rules. We haven't changed them. So it becomes kind of painful to live, like walking between the worlds, right? This is what I see with my clients and my community of women I work with. It's like we and my partner, women business partners, right? Collaborators. We walk between the worlds, right? And in a way, we're pioneering, but there are no roadmaps. So we have to be creative, and we have to accept where we are. So we can't change all the horrible things are happening in the world right away, but we can show up for sure differently in our own lives, in our relationships, in our community as leaders, right? And we are very powerful. So what kind of challenges women have these days, those ones who've done lots of work on themselves? So the first thing I see is like being stuck in very boring relationship with the masculine, or usually it's like marriage, because marriage is also, it's not just the relationship, it's also the whole institution, the whole very old container that is rooted in old consciousness, right? When the container of marriage was created thousands of years ago, and it was a survival container for women because they wouldn't survive on their own, right? In those brutal times. And only recently we started to be much freer and more independent, but the institution, the container, is still very old, and there are lots of hidden, unseen threads that still weaved in that container that makes us feel kind of suffocated, trapped, or guilty for wanting something different, or guilty for wanting more, guilty for like wanting pleasure and like being vibrant and awakened and alive and connected to a man who can, you know, dance with us in this beautiful ecstatic space of exchanging energy, right? Love making, giving, receiving love, affection, co-creating, right? Playing together. So many women feel like, oh, I'm opening up and I'm stepping in my power and like my desire is awakening, and my man is kind of like, everything is fine as it is. I don't want to do anything new. Why do you even want anything? Everything is great. We're stable. We have a house. We have retirement. We have great children. Whatever. We can go travel somewhere. It's like, okay, that is the bottom of the pyramid, right? Is like the survival is covered, but then all these desires that come to surface, and women hit walls with their present partners that maybe they've been married for years, for 20 years or 15 years or more, and they feel this paradox within. There is a conflict within. Yes, I love my husband, but I'm not fulfilled, right? So this is happening a lot, and some women, they make decision to step out of that and break free, you know, go through divorce or separation, which can be also painful. And some women just feel like, well, it's maybe not worth it, right? So it feels like there are only two options, right? Like you either get divorced and leave, or you just stay and tolerate, basically. And that's this very painful scenario because, you know, it's so black and white. So only two choices for this. Of course, there is another choice that some women try, then they trying to talk to their husband and engage them in this work, like let's learn tantra together, let's learn more about intimacy, let's learn more about sexuality, and let's, you know, try something new, let's engage, right? And many times most of these men are very resistant to any change and very reluctant, and it just doesn't feel good to keep trying and bugging and pushing. You know, it's, you know, okay, he's not going to change. It's like, okay, he is what it is, what he is. So, and this is so uncommon to like to say, okay, we can be friends, we can keep that part of relationship that is working for us, but I have to find a better outlet for my femininity, my sensuality, my desire, you know, my sexuality, you know, my all of this energy that is, you know, hungry for experience, right, with somebody who can match that frequency. And that's really, really, it's kind of a little tragic in our society because our sexuality and our femininity is locked into this container that we have to kind of sacrifice this part of ourselves because of stability of practical partnerships. So basically the money, the security, the practical arrangements, you know, the basic support system like helping, being emergency contact, whatever, retirement friend, is linked to our sexuality, and it keeps this wild animal, our sexual self, on leash. You know, it's like, well, you can't do that because all of this will fall apart. So how does it sound to you if you step out and zoom out, you know, and look at it from far away? It's like, does it make sense? It's like, is it authentic? Is it real, honest relationship? Is it something that is aligned with who we are and how we want to live our lives and relate? So it doesn't really make sense for me. So many of my clients come to me with this paradox. It's like, okay, what do I do with this? You know, and there are creative ways to navigate it. Of course, it's not like this, but we work with what we have. But it's very, very important for me to see that women are choosing themselves, so don't self-betray, and they keep moving, following the calling within, right, of who they are. They want to be vibrant and awakened rather than be trapped. um, so this is one challenge I see many women face, especially women in their 40s or 50s and even 60s, right? So now there is also category of women who are single and they're trying to date, and they want to meet their soulmate or their twin flame or their partner to create beautiful relationships, maybe family, and they just feel so discouraged and disappointed, and they maybe had bad experiences with dating or relationships with men, and they couldn't really find the right container for them to be free and loved at the same time, and also couldn't find the right match. So this is also, and then once you become kind of familiar with this energetics of that experience, right? Once you become used to it, you start seeing life and relationships through that lens, because it is something that happened to you, right? And that is a big, big challenge, because if you keep looking at the world of then dating and men and relationships through that lens, it will keep you stuck, in that space. And it's really hard to shift, right? Because it's, in order to shift it, it's not just enough to have your own internal experience. You need to go out and interact with men and have experiences. You don't need to engage in serious relationship right away, but you need to be available for energy exchange and find certain expression of yourself that is aligned and authentic and beautiful and clear of who you are and how you show up. So that's something that also I work with women on that. Yeah, so there are these categories that we see. And also, even women who find beautiful conscious men, and they can be soulmates. Obviously, when you in beautiful relationships that is aligned at all levels, like physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, it has to be your soulmate, right? It has to be like twin flame. There is a difference between these two, and I could make a video maybe another time about that. But you can't just have it with anybody. It's not going to work. It's energetics, and there is so much into that. So how do we find them, and how do we relate to them? Because even those relationships can be challenged by our conditioning and programming and our wounding and lack of communication. And I see it every day. It's like, oh my God, what a mess, right? And of course, we teach what we want to learn. I went through all of these bumps and like mess myself in my life and relating to men. And what I know about myself, that I'm really dedicated, devoted to my own feminine. So there were times when I could notice certain elements of self-betrayal, but not to the degree that I observe like women around me, right? It's like, oh yeah. And even that felt like, how did I even, how did it happen? Because I've been always independent and, free and didn't really depend on men. But there were situations when I found myself like, wow, I was guilty of that too. So all of this work is also comes from personal experience and like working with other people and couples and women. So yes, you can still feel a little bit frustrated. Even with your soulmates, you might feel like you grow so much faster and you see such a bigger picture and you want to experiment and do these things and you're ready to go really deep, and he would resist, and it's like, and there is certain reluctant energy, or he can come from the place of fear, because it can be terrifying for a modern man to relate to this liberated, empowered feminine, right? It's like can be too much, and he will move with a slower pace, which can be annoying or frustrating, right? So this is what I can observe. And you can feel it's a bit myopic. He's like, what, lacking inside, right? Lacking bigger picture. So we have to work with that, because I believe in this time of the history, we are the leaders, we are pioneers, and we are, in a way, teachers and leaders and not coaches, but we show our men a bigger picture, our vision, our intuition, our energy, and we inspire them to learn from us, right? So men who are open to learn and honor and um, worship the feminine, they will move with you through different phases of life and relationships, and they will not block it, right? So that is good, right? So even if they are not on the same page right now, they're still moving through their own stuff. So just remember that men process emotions like 5 to 10 times slower than women. We're wired differently physiologically in terms of our hormones, and also psychologically, right? It's harder for them to process the emotions, and they do it differently, right? So it's another conversation as well. Just understanding that and having compassion, holding space for each other, and of course, education about these differences is crucial for both partners, right? That's something that I also provide in my work with people. So this is like, these are the situations that we experience these days. And what I believe that the most important thing for us women is to put ourselves first, to really stick to our boundaries, to stick to our truth no matter what. Yes, we might not have always an opportunity to communicate our truth, or having that open flow of energy exchange and self-express and be seen and heard the way we want to, yet we need to stick to that. And if something doesn't feel good, you can just step back and be in your own space. That's what being sovereign is about, right? Sovereign is a woman who knows herself on a very deep level, and she never self-betrays, and she knows these hidden subconscious patterns of how they work, that pull us back to survival, that pull us back to self-betrayal, that pull us back to giving in to something that doesn't feel good, all the smallness, and like shutting down our desires, our bodies, adjusting to what men need, especially with our sexualities. Like some women have no clue what they want. They don't know how to ask. They don't know how to relax into receiving and not to worry what is he thinking, what does he want, So there's so much to work with right there. But the most important thing is to be devoted to yourself, your own divine feminine within. Create some space to play and enjoy and experiment. The good idea for all women to create more expanded support system, the network of relationships where you can receive different elements of what you need and desire from different people. There is nothing wrong with that. And I'm not talking about polyamory, I'm talking about energy exchange. If you have a male friend, you want to go out, have dinner and beautiful conversation, and if he is admiring your femininity and beauty and intellect and your charm, why not? There is nothing wrong with that. If you want to go to dance, you can have a dance partner and enjoy dancing, and this is a huge energy exchange through that channel as well. They can be like adventure partners, they can be exploration partners. We talk about healing partnership a lot in my world, right? They can be platonic, heart-centered connection and companionship. You could take that relationship model quiz to see where are you at and what you need the most, if you haven't yet. But this is my message today. Don't self-betray, honor your desire, honor your needs, honor what comes through. Don't give in to smallness or anything that doesn't feel good, right? Yes, there can be limitation, but you can flow around it. If this is not available here, you can flow around and find a better outlet right now for your energy. Because if you trap your energy, it's not going to work. It's not an intellectual process. It's about being able to navigate our feminine energy, right? So there is nothing, no right and wrong if it aligns with your own values, right? This is a big topic. We could go many different directions with that. But yes, I hope you having or had beautiful Lover's Day and received, maybe did your practices, your dance, your whatever your creative expression, received pleasure, received beauty, elements of luxury, treated yourself and allowed yourself to receive from others, especially men, right? And yes, keep going. We're all in this together.